It's the same question always with me. What are we going
Uh,
to talk about?
all
All
the
right.
things. We're going to talk
So
about all the things.
yeah, we're going to talk about all the things, and we are live, but I'm going to give people 2-3 minutes to get in here. I'm going to share this. It is on my page. Oh my God, I'm burning up. Something's happening.
You're burning up. Oh, you need
Yeah.
some Wim Hof breathing.
we're going to talk. We're going to talk about Wim Hof breathing shortly, among other things. We're going to talk about Mother Kauai. We're going to talk about wisdomware.org. We're going to talk about Wim Hof breathing.
We're going to talk about being metahumans, becoming cosmic superhero, multidimensional cosmic superheroes.
What does meta mean?
Meta means above or beyond. Like Metatron is
Above or beyond?
beyond the physical. Tron is the physical. Meta is above or beyond. Metaphysics would be beyond the physical.
And metatext? Why would they call it metatext?
What's metatext? What's metatext?
Metatext is what they use in on websites and stuff. So they can like keywords basically.
Okay, so like beyond just the text or just beyond the words.
Yeah. Okay. So
would be my guess.
Yeah. Metatext would be, well, we're going to hold you to that. We got 35 people in the house. We've had 3 really badass shows today with 3 divine feminine. Now this is number 4, and we're going to talk about, what's it called? Breathing what?
we're going to talk about becoming multidimensional cosmic super beings.
Okay, we're going to talk about becoming
metahumans and maybe some Wim Hof breathing.
Yeah, we're going to talk about metahuman, Wim Hof breathing. We're going to talk about wisdomware.org. We're going to talk about Mother Kauai. We're going to talk about what's happening, real-time intel. And we're going to talk about whatever comes up. And then this is the 4th show today. We have great guests today, great women today on. And then at 8:30.
You are a metahuman to hold all that space for all these people every darn day.
Yeah.
That's a superpower.
I might have overdone it these last 4 days, but I'm good. I've got one more show after this with Yvette Jule from the West Coast, and we're going to be talking yoni steams and yoni eggs. And I would tune in. I would highly recommend everybody tune into to all the shows today because they've all been very good. Whether you caught them on the live, if you didn't, catch them on the replay. So let me just figure out what the hell's going on over here. Had some weird stuff happening just a while ago. Threw me off my square a little bit. But here we go. So, and evidently there's a book called Metahuman by Deepak Chopra that Amber Essence is reading. So here's the deal, people. I went to Kauai October the 29th of 2019. 2019? Is that right?
No. You arrived in 2018.
2018. And so there were a few people I met there. One was Ameera, Beth, Healer, who had her own Kauai story, and she's one of the aunties over there. And so we became very good friends, and she's actually provided Soulogy with some badass t-shirts. I don't have one on today.
You know, I see you all the time running around on Facebook with a wisdomware shirt on. Today you got no wisdomware shirt on.
I know. There's some extenuating circumstances there.
They're in the laundry.
Well, that's part of it. Yeah. So anyway, we became, friends. You took Morgan and I to the Labyrinth, or however you pronounce that. And we met you in the little festival, the little vendor festival that happens in the beautiful town of Kapa'a.
Yeah, for Saturdays.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite. Kauai will always be dear. I don't think we'll be living there again, but I definitely don't. I guess the whole world's our home, but it's a special place, Kauai. It's an incredible big part of our journey. Big part of our journey, Morgan and I, and for me personally as well. So, it's good seeing you. I hadn't seen you in a while. I know we've been like hitting and missing because we haven't really had a chance. I just want to say Thank you to our friend Karen for giving us a place to plug in an RV and to broadcast for the next 48 days straight.
Nice.
Couple of days off, yeah. So yeah, I made a list of people that because Morgan wasn't here. She went to go see a friend. She'll be back tomorrow night. So all the scheduling will be more suitable and feasible. And I won't be all these over cost time overruns and all that. But I made a list of people that were like, and you were one of them. So boom, boom, boom. Here we are,
Thank you.
17 shows later. And it's good to see you. And I don't know, where do you want to start? Do you want to start with what's going on with you? Or do you want to start out with this type of breathing that you're talking about? And I think you should mention to everyone what this breathing is, whenever you want to, and the two examples you gave me.
Well, what breathing is? Well, I mean, breathing, prana, life force is everything to us. And I mean, a really good topic today that we talking about was how we are becoming these meta human beings, like how we're remembering our superpowers. And a part of that is our ability to tap into our bodies through our mind, through our body, through our spirit, and accomplish and do things that we didn't ever think, that we didn't know were possible. And there are people out there living in the flesh right now who are accomplishing these superhuman qualities, and they're teaching them to other people. So a lot of people listening probably know who Wim Hof is. He's very actually well known for Wim
Hof.
He's a Dutch man, Wim, WIMHOF, Wim Hof.
Wim Hof.
And he actually discovered his breathing technique, or I guess discovered is a good word, after his wife had depression when his kids were very young. She had a death by suicide. And so to deal with his grief and with his trauma, he developed or discovered this method of controlling his emotions and anxiety in his grief and processing it through a breathing technique. And he climbed Mount Everest in shorts, nothing else. He can swim the length of a football field underwater on one breath. So these are superhuman things, but they're not. They are what we are all capable of if somebody just reminds us how to do it. So I've recently just kind of gotten into the whole Wim Hof breathing thing. I do hot yoga, I do Bikram yoga. So, and because you're in the extreme heat, breathing is your best friend, because breathing controls our fight or flight. It helps us manage our fight or flight. Breathing allows us to draw oxygen into our body. When our brain is deprived of oxygen, that's when we go into a panic mode. And whenever we go into extremes, hot or cold or trauma, that's an extreme, yeah.
Because I'm learning here. So whenever oxygen is deprived to our brain,
yeah,
we go into
fight or flight.
And so, let me get my arms around this. So that would explain hyperventilation.
Yes.
Fast breathing when you get nervous and agitated and angry and
anxious. Yeah.
So if you, just in layman's, if you control your breathing, and that makes sense, you level down. Yeah.
Okay. When people have panic and anxiety attacks, we stop breathing. When we feel anxious, we seize up, our diaphragm seizes up, and we literally forget to breathe, and we stop breathing. And most of us only breathe off the top 20% of our lungs in general. We're just shallow breathers, unless we're in yoga where we're told to deep breathe, or somebody is working with us and they're like, whenever anybody's in panic, what's the first thing people say? Breathe. You have to breathe. Okay, so conscious breathing is a way to manage our energy and our emotions and our fight and flight. And that's kind of a known thing, like people know that, but the ability that we have to truly manage and maintain our body temperature, the alkalinity in our body, the emotions in our body through breath is so much greater than most people know.
Hmm.
And so Wim Hof teaches people to do that in under extreme conditions.
So we're talking about two things here. We're talking about one, the ability to regulate the temperature
Yes.
through Wim Hof breathing, and then also
Aloha, everybody. Whoops.
Aloha.
Can you hear that?
We are having the Mandela
Hold on,
effect
hold
with
on.
this
Of course.
Are you wait, what happened to you? Can you Okay. Anyway, let's see. I thought, what happened to her? She's had some kind of side effect from Wim Hof breathing, it seems. Go out and come back in. So what I was saying is that we'll pick it up when she comes back.
Yeah, hang on, Todd. Hang on just a second.
Yes, I'm here. I'm doing my
My
Wim Hof.
computer has got a mind of its own.
I'm doing my Wim Hof breathing. I don't want to go into fight or flight. Okay. Oh, she's gone. Okay. So what I was getting at is, so this guy is regulating his temperature, and that's one part of it because he's swimming in Arctic waters and he's climbing Mount Everest in a pair of underwear. And then the other thing is he's able to swim without coming up for breath for 100 yards. So that's interesting, you know. So I wonder if the Wim Hof breathing must expand the capability of how much, you know, how much air you can hold. And because you would think that if you were holding your breath for a long time, that you would begin to deprive your brain of oxygen, which evidently is what causes fight or flight. So I don't know. This is interesting. So Shanine says he's terrifying. He must be some type of hybrid beast. I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, she's saying, hang on. It's all good. Don't worry about it. Okay. So, you know, we'll just talk a little bit. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. You know, thank you for everybody for the support and the love and the contributions that always seem to come when we need it to keep going. And I really mean that. And thank you for sharing, because we have been getting beaten pretty badly by Facebook, and YouTube's been pretty good to us over the last couple of months. But yeah, so I just want to say thanks on behalf of Soulogy and Morgan and I. And we're still here to provide a free community service if for as long as that is in alignment, and that's both of our you know goals and our feelings, is to be able to provide whatever we can provide, however much it expands. I have my own ideas on that, but always to allow it to be free. And so let me see here. Okay. So, you know, we've had some really great shows today. If you haven't seen them, we had some great shows yesterday as well. With Franco Di Nicola, Sandra and Alan, who were just incredible. And Tim Wilde was on yesterday. These were great shows. And then these 5 today, really good. I mean, you know, Wanda Vitale, quantum entrepreneurship. Then we have Yvette Goulet tonight at 8:30 Eastern, which is going to be involving how to steam your yoni. But this is serious business. And also yoni eggs and whatever else comes up with our dear sister Yvette. She'll be back. Ameera will be back in a minute. Of course, we have Ameera, Beth, Maya, Meticular, Meticlar. And she's always really good. And who else do we have today that I'm forgetting? I can't remember. But anyway, so it's been a really powerful day. I think it's significant that all the women, they were all women. Here comes Ameera. And let's get her back in here. But so there must be something to that. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Let's see if she's got it together now. All right, unmute. Okay, you're up now.
That was wild.
The comedy improv is over.
Good job of holding the space. Well, my computer just literally took on a mind of its own, and all these apps started opening up, and I had to restart. So here, I had to practice my breathing.
That's what I was saying.
I'd be like,
getting at.
okay, Wim Hof, you guys.
Uh-oh. She's just her frequency's just gone frozen. Papa Charlie just put up a comment here. Oh, are you back?
I'm back. Yes.
Okay. Here's a comment back to Wim Hof breathing. Some good comments here. Papa Charlie, who's a new friend and supporter. Thank you very much.
I know Papa Charlie.
You know Papa Charlie?
Yeah.
I need to know Papa Charlie. His energy is very good. He says, I consider the science of breath to be one of the most important areas of knowledge and practice for self-awareness, regulation, and to equip our children with. Thanks for this discussion. You're very welcome. Let's see here. There was another one. Okay, so Maureen Peterson says he takes 30 deep breaths before he holds it, so the oxygen is still in the body. So this is where I was at. So this is two things. One, he's regulating the temperature, and two, he's able to swim 100 yards without taking a breath.
So temperature regulation and the ability to retain oxygen in your body to do things you wouldn't normally be able to do in extreme circumstances. You know, in these circumstances that are extreme, we as a society, I mean, we've kind of gotten disconnected from nature and from the elements. I mean, we have these nice warm houses and clothing and all the things to protect us from the elements, so we don't have to be in survival mode like our ancestors did, and they had to learn to regulate their bodies and their breath for survival. Like literally.
It's okay. So now let's stay on the meta-human topic.
Okay.
Let's. I just have one more thing on the. We should try to get Wim Hof on the show. Number one.
Oh my gosh, you totally should.
I'm going to reach out to him, and a couple other people are on my mind. But what I was going to say is, so I wonder if you obviously have looked into this. So I wonder now when you're doing the Wim Hof breathing,
mm-hmm.
in respect to controlling body temperature, do you have like affirmations and self-talk and that type of thing?
I mean, you can, and I'm really brand new at this, and I literally have just started reading about it and got the app, but just before we jumped on, I did my 30 breaths.
And what happened? She froze. That's what happened. The Wim Hof, no wonder the Wim Hof thing works, because it makes you oh, okay, go ahead.
It makes you get kind of a little like lightheaded, and because there's a lot of oxygen going in your body, and you kind of go out of body a little bit, and you have to be super, super present with a feeling that is very strange. Okay. That feeling of kind of not being here because you're flooding your body with so much oxygen. But again, because I've done Bikram for so long, and we do 20 breaths, we do this breathing exercise before. I have a little bit being used to what that feeling is like to flood your body with oxygen. I mean, that's not a new thing that he's doing. Yogis have been doing it for eons of time because they know. But this is something anybody can learn for free through his app.
So even a heathen like me, right?
Yeah.
So now, in terms of hot yoga, right? You've been doing hot yoga for a while. Now you start using, or you have been, you used the 20 breath technique in hot yoga. Now so you're familiar with what it can do.
Yeah, it's called pranayama deep breathing, and it's 2 sets of 10 really deep breaths.
Okay. So now how do you have like how does that affect you when you're doing the hot yoga? What does it do for you?
So when you go into an extreme environment, like a typical studio is 105 degrees, and here on Kauai, it can be 90 to 100% humidity. Typically,
you do yoga in 105 degrees.
Yeah. And 90% humidity, mostly about 60%, which is about where the room is supposed to be.
How long is the yoga class? Like 6 minutes?
90.
Oh, yeah, 90.
And I've been doing it like 11 years, 5 days a week. Yeah. So when you go into an environment that is that hot and that extreme, your body wants to run. Like, we're not accustomed to being that hot, and it feels weird and it feels uncomfortable, and you kind of feel like you're going to die because you're kind of, the air is very thick, and the air is very humid. So the deep breathing sets you up, sets your nervous system. It takes you out of that fight or flight by flooding you with oxygen and preparing you for your practice. And that's kind of what he does, except he more prepares people for cold water, being in the cold, and helps people through the breathing when they feel traumatic or panic or anxiety coming on, helps them manage themselves through breath.
Wow, this is
Because
cool.
that's an extreme environment for the body also.
So this is cool because so it was actually inspired or founded because his wife committed suicide in order for him to deal with the emotions.
Yeah.
And this is interesting. Yeah, and like I was thinking a while ago, there's so many paths to the metahuman.
Yeah.
There's so many ways. And I think of this other story Morgan tells where 100 years ago, this couple lost their kid, like in an accident or something. And he developed, I guess he was a psychologist, he developed a method of connecting and aligning with his future self, who was past the grief. And him and his wife, cleared it immediately. And so this is the same. This is interesting that this guy Wim Hof has come out into this as a result of the same type of circumstance.
Yeah.
So
A tragedy.
metahumans, yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, perceived tragedy. So metahuman, the things that we are capable of doing, that we're coming into, obviously telepathy, bilocation, and teleportation or whatever.
Yeah.
But the things that you're kind of referring to are actually tied to the physical.
Yes.
Okay. So what would some other ones be? Just off the top of your head, I guess instant healing would be one.
Yeah. Spontaneous healings, which people are having. Even just having the realization that we can spontaneously heal and change our biology. I like to use the word bioremediation. Bio meaning life, and remediate means to change your environment. So when you are going through any kind of an activity, whether that is through your diet, changing your diet, or meditation practice, or a yoga practice, or developing some kind of a habit to change your life force, you are bioremediating. You're changing your body's environment. And there's many different ways to do that. And when we have the realization that we are in charge of our own life force, that we can bioremediate ourselves through our thoughts, through our minds, and really through our choices and our good habits, we can really go anywhere. And so people like Wim Hof are they're just leading the charge. They're just teaching people, I did this, I can teach you to do it too. Someone just needs to show you how to do it.
Somebody's said something about my mic. Just let me know. It should be fine. Yeah, I'm with you on this. So I wonder, because the way I look at it is we come into this, at least this incarnation, and certainly all the other ones on earth that led to this, and we came in with certain templates. We'll just talk this incarnation. Certain templates, like the Atlantis template,
right,
or the Yeshua Magdalene template, or there's different templates people have access to, and so I look at that, and then I look at the fact that, and this is just my take on it, that we are creating the new template. Like we're taking whatever's there.
We're creating the new metahuman.
Yeah. So what I'm kind of, toying around with here is like, okay, so because I've looked, because I'm married to an energy practitioner, and so I've known the value and seen, pretty much instant healing, DNA correction, and whatever, talking to the body, energy, and this and that, and the things that can happen instantaneously, and then in the short happen in the physical level. So I'm wondering how where does the programming from the programmer, and I'm talking energetic thoughts, that type of thing, meet the physical part, like you're talking about, which obviously has an impact, be it Wim Hof
Yeah.
breathing or lifestyle changes or, ingesting certain things into our body. And the results, it can, in many cases, can be very immediate. I wonder where that meets. That's interesting.
Well, and I think it meets because, in this ascension process that we're going through, we're it's not about leaving the body behind.
Yeah.
It's about
Yeah.
taking the body and being with the body and loving our bodies, everything about it, and creating our the physicality, our cells and our DNA into something that works with the ascension energies.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a good subject. We've gotten some intel. I don't even know because I can't ever think straight anymore. But basically, the intel was that all the other bodies have aligned
Mm-hmm.
and have come into enough of an alignment. Let's just put it
Yes.
that way. That now all that's left is the physical body,
Yeah.
and that as it was said to us, as we understood it, was that the physical body, physically, literally, from has to go through it biologically, has to go
Yeah.
through it to the light body. And there was in our communion, what was being said was, you know at the end of the day, it was, you got to be present. The
Yeah.
more present you are, meaning the less distraction you have, the more, feasible, and proportionate
Well,
to.
and you are very good about sending out messages about, I am soul is your tagline, and
Mhm.
talking about how no viruses, no
Yeah.
politics,
Yeah.
none of that affects the fact that we are soul. And the way we embody that is to release the fear, because
Yeah.
it's the fear matrix that keeps people's bodies or does not allow people's bodies to heal or to take on the new templates of of the new earth, the fear of what's going to happen to my body. So if
Yeah.
we can learn not only to transcend the fear mentally, but to have physical techniques that we can use and bring into our body to break those templates down, those fear templates, that's
Yeah.
when we integrate all of them.
So, and then the other side, yeah, I totally agree with you. So that part, I think of, we're kind of coming into and getting that.
Yeah.
We can, yeah, because I'm seeing it, you're seeing it in the community. Now the next part would be, it would seem to me, the next part would be regeneration,
Mm-hmm.
reversing
Yep.
aging, longevity.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on that? How do you think we segue into that?
I think it's all the direction that we're headed. I think
Mm,
we are headed in that direction. But again, it's integrating the physical body along with the thought processes and changing our physical bodies
mm.
and releasing, collapsing the fear programming, because it is the fear that
That's the
holds
main thing.
all of
Yeah.
us back from true ascension, from understanding and experiencing true ascension.
I
It's
guess,
happening through the body.
yeah, I guess theoretically, that's probably not the right word, but if theoretically we removed 100% of the fear programming, all that stuff would probably take care of itself.
Yeah.
And all the supernatural meta-human skills and abilities would probably just come into play without
Right.
any effort, with other than the effort of overcoming any fear-based programming.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm digging that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's going on in? Okay, here's another subject. I'm over in Florida now. You
Mm-hmm.
know, um, obviously I was in Kauai for 10 months. Morgan and I. She did take a 57-day break that was very distressing to me, but other than that, everything was cool. I'm just kidding. But
You're
now,
still not over it.
yeah, I'm not. So, but now we're in Atlantis
Yes.
area, and
Yes.
there's been a lot of Atlantis talk, a resurgence of the Atlantis talk,
Mm-hmm.
particularly since the 1st of January.
Yeah.
What's your take on it? What do you know about it?
Well,
What's your intel on it?
and on that note, that I'm an incarnated mer being, and part of my soul purpose here is to talk about the great kingdom of Atlantis, and the rise and the resurrection of Atlantis and Lemuria also. They're both lands, memories of both lands, and the resurrection of the wisdom and the knowledge of both is very important. Those templates. We are in Atlantis when we were Atlanteans, and if you're alive on this planet right now, you were in Atlantis during one incarnation. It was a great experiment to find out if fifth dimensional beings could come into third dimensional bodies and retain their fifth dimensional connection, which would mean no disease, no fears, no ego, and continue to leave a source directed utopian life in a third dimensional body with 5 senses. Okay, you with me so far? Yeah. So, and Atlantis was just an experiment. People like to say Atlantis was a big failure, and we talk about the trauma, and we talk about the fall, and the fall and the trauma of Atlantis is very pertinent in our collective, especially now that we see so many earth changes happening right now, and people have a fear of what's going to happen to the land masses. What's happening to our environment, what's happening to the land and the waters and all the elements. But Atlantis was an experiment. It was not a failure. It was an experiment. And anytime you have an experiment, you have to add a variable to see how the experiment goes, which was ego. We all knew, those of us who came to Atlantis to take part in the experiment and have a body for the first time and have senses and be able to make love and eat good food and smell plants. We all knew that we were participating in an experiment, and we knew that we were eternal beings. We knew we were soul. And however the experiment went, it didn't really matter because we were soul.
Yeah.
And we're creators and we're experimenters. And so the Atlanteans came from all star systems, from all around the universe, came to Atlantis to take part in a great experiment and have a 3D human body.
Yeah.
Exciting. Never been done before.
Yeah.
So there are many incarnations, many risings and fallings of Atlantis. Ego would come in, and then Prime Creator would go, well, the experiment, this happened. They didn't hang on to their connection to source. Boom, wipe out Atlantis, start over. All souls went back to Prime Creator. Some came back down to experiment again. And really, it is that simple. People want to really complicate it and do a lot of shame and blame and finger pointing at what we would call the dark, which happened, but it was part of the experiment, because you can't have an experiment without a variable.
They're on the same team,
right?
We're on.
Ultimately, dark and light. So I'm gonna go just a little further. In this reality, we are reversing and rewriting the spiral of time of Atlantis. We are in a 3D body, working our way back up to 5D.
Yeah, we're going the other direction now.
We're going the other direction.
Yeah, it's
another experiment.
No, yeah. And so what about and I agree with what you're saying. I mean, I don't get a lot of stuff on Atlantis. It's been about 5 or 6 years. But I started getting stuff a couple of nights ago about, of all things, Atlantis technology. And I'm like, what? Like, go look up this, look up that. And then I started reading some Plato and found out that he described this, incredible technology in comparison to the rest of the world and so on. But what I was getting to was the relationship between Lemuria and Atlantis. And I've seen on Spirit Science and other things, and I don't buy anything really, but kind of got to get a feel.
Yeah.
But it seems like that there was some friction between, or at least
there was.
Okay, so at least
there was a great war. There was actually a great war.
So there's friction, and in whatever forms it came in between Lemuria and Atlantis. And I look at, and I'm just saying this strictly just to kind of like connect the dots. It's not about Morgan and I, but to be in Kauai, and then, and obviously everywhere we've gone since we've got to the West Coast, now in Florida, we're doing grid work, you know,
Hmm.
and whether we're conscious at the time or unconscious.
Right.
But now we get over to Florida, and all I'm hearing is Atlantis,
Yes.
Atlantis, Atlantis, and as I look into the field, you know, from my perspective, which is just my perspective, I see like Lemuria and Atlantis,
Yeah.
like some type of unification. Does that ring a bell or resonate, or do you know anything
Yeah,
about that?
absolutely. So the East Coast definitely is the Atlantean. It's Atlantis over there, Florida, where you're at. I'm over here
Mm-hmm.
on the Lemurian side. I'm an Atlantean Mer in on Lemuria,
Mm-hmm.
and part of my
You're a secret agent.
I well, there was so when there was the war between Atlantis and Lemuria, Lemuria the feminine, Atlantis the masculine. The Atlantis was the more scientific,
Yeah.
right-brained, masculine.
Mm.
Lemuria was, the feminine, the earth.
Yeah.
And the Atlanteans thought themselves to be superior to the
Mm.
Lemurians and tried to enslave them. And at one point in our time, no time history of this planet, there was a great war.
Yeah.
And that my belief is that the war between Atlantis and Lemuria caused the split between masculine and feminine on a macrocosmic level
Mm.
that has created the split between the masculine and feminine on the microcosmic level.
Mm.
And so since that war, we all of us who have come to this planet, whether we're male or female or masculine and feminine, longing to repair that split. And part of my purpose here as being an Atlantean on Lemuria is to attempt to bridge those energies and reunite those energies, as we're all trying to do individually within
Yeah.
ourselves and within
Yeah.
our partnerships, because your partnership is just an expression
Mm-hmm.
of your internal, everything you are wanting to do internally, everything Morgan is wanting to do internally. Your partnership is the next echelon of that. And then beyond the next echelon of that is the template that you roll out for the collective. And that ripple effects up into the macrocosm through the 144,000 original souls, male and female, who came through the Vesica Pisces. So we're
Mm.
all doing our individual, and we're all doing our tribal, and we're doing our collective and macrocosmic work, whether we know it or not, for the planet to reverse the spiral and that split that happened, especially during the last incarnation of Atlantis 13,000 years ago.
13,000.
That was the last fall.
Okay. This is interesting stuff. I'm digging it. We don't normally talk about this stuff, but I don't know what's happening. Some kind of energy.
You brought it up.
No, I'm digging it. I'm not just talking about this show, but even the last show and the one before that and the one before that. So let me ask you this now. What's your take? I mean, I think we're all way past the events coming, and
Yeah.
Jesus is coming. And,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying nothing's not going to happen. I'm just saying, I'm tired of people saying it's going to happen on February the 12th. And,
right. Anytime
whatever.
there's a date, ignore it.
But yeah, exactly. So, but what? Well, and of course, we're just looking at time in this case as a form of as data, basically.
Right.
As a data. Okay. So what's your take on 2020? I mean, there's been these 6 weeks have been like, off the hook. And then there's been some people that their forte is kind of the forecasting and although they don't all speak the same, they're kind of saying the same thing.
Yeah.
And I'll just kind of leave it like this. Like Greg Prescott did that video. And he says, at the end of 2020, you won't recognize anything.
Yeah. Speaking of him, I got to talk to your brother, Greg, because I think he's a Mer. And I don't know if he knows or not. Oh yeah. He's an Atlantic.
Do you want me to put in a good word for you?
Yeah,
like back in junior high and say that you like him?
I'm going to reach out to him and I'm be like, I hope you don't think I'm a weirdo, but I really see you as a Mer brother. And I'm going to talk to him a little bit about, my background and what I teach, and just see
he
where
told me
he's at with that.
Yeah, he told me that at night when he goes to bed, he turns on this show and just lets it run until he falls asleep. So he's probably going to hear what you said.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at him. I'm like, I know that.
But I'll be glad to.
I
I'd
know
be
that
glad to connect you. He's a great guy. But so he says, the end of the day, and then Franco talks about June is like it's like a new, not even like the second half of the year. It's just like this new, and he hasn't discussed it. It's not quite ready, whatever. And other people have okay. So you get what I'm saying. The
Yeah.
trajectory
Yes.
being, this is already not a normal year. We're only 6 weeks into it. Everyone
Yes.
said January was the longest 5 months of their life, and now we're heading into the spring,
Yes.
which is energetically, that's a very powerful thing because we know what that means. What's your feeling on this? What do you think? What do you think's happening? We got people moving around, coming together, and so what do you think? What's your take on it?
My take on 2020, the year of perfect vision, focus, all the things people are calling it, is very much what's been stated. Individually, I believe that we are going to be stepping into callings and stepping into roles that we didn't even know or consider we could hold. Like new assignments. I think I have a new assignment for this year.
What is it? Are you going to be, what is it? Are you going to be a fairy now?
No, I had something really, really, really amazing happen to me right after the first of the year. I was reached out by a radio show called Transformation Talk Radio.
Right on.
And they have invited me to host a show, an online show on their program.
That's excellent.
They want me to come talk about all my things. So we're calling it Tales from the Mer World, exploring the ancient lands of Atlantis and Lemuria. And they want me to come on and talk about my channelings and my knowledge, everything about the rebirthing of Atlantis and Lemuria and the influence of the new people. So I'm going to have my own radio show. Like it's going to be the Ameera show.
I think you should. I can see you like with a nice sound stage behind you, sitting on a stool, like a bar stool level, with a mermaid bottom and human top.
They have given me a first-rate production. Like the setup they have for me around this, the technology, the production, the support is amazing.
Wow.
All the artwork they've done for me, the page that I have on their website, the voiceovers, I got to record like everything. They've really given me a professional platform, a beautiful platform to speak my truth and to speak to my audience. I will get to interview some people, and I very much want you and Morgan to come talk with me. And it'll be twice a month. The first show airs February 27th at 1:00 Pacific time, Tales from the Mer World. So there'll be a big,
Who are you going to have on that show? Greg Prescott?
Well, I'll talk to him and make sure he doesn't think I'm a crazy mermaid first.
So now you're saying that you feel part of what you feel is that we'll be taking on new roles, or maybe expanded roles, new roles.
Okay, so things we have been maybe in the back of our minds thinking, I would really, really like to do this. I feel called to do this for the collective, but the opportunity hasn't shown itself, or things we never even considered that we were capable of doing are going to be offered to us, and they're going to be big. And when the universe says, here you go, this is what you get to do next, be that metahuman that says, I got this. God's behind me. The universe is behind me. I came to this planet to show up in my fullness, came to this planet to be a leader, came to speak my truth and say yes.
Yes. I'm getting it, man. I think I'm going to climb Mount Everest, but I'm going to be buck naked.
Well,
and I'm going to swim 2 football fields, not 1.
But hey, you know what? And I'll talk to you in a year, and maybe you will have to be doing that.
I got other things. No, I'd rather do something else. I'm not into I'm into the ease and grace thing. So, So now, what do you think in terms of like, meta-human capabilities?
Yes.
Because to me, if there's one Wim Hof, then there becomes another, and then the math now,
and that's what's happening.
Yeah. So I mean, like for instance, instantaneous healing. Do you think that we might see? I mean, to me, I think whatever happens, these conversations, this frequency in this community is going to be, it's going to be unavoidable by the mainstream. I
Yeah.
don't think they're going to be able to, like, ignore it any longer. There's going to be too
Right.
much expression out there. But I guess what I'm saying is, as an example, instantaneous healing. Do you think that we'll see significant examples outside of our, that actually the awareness reaches outside of our community before the end of the year?
Outside of our community, meaning like outside of the metaphysical
Yeah,
community?
like, like, say, like, in our circles, we hear about this person and that person, which we do,
Uh-huh.
but I mean, like, where you start to see, like, people saying, hey, there's a epidemic of people that are having tumors disappear, in
I think that's
Sedona,
already
Arizona.
starting to happen.
Yeah.
I think that those people, and even more importantly than the spontaneous healing, is we're going to have generations of children's where the programming and the template will already be broken, and they will
Yeah.
come in without knowing disease.
Yeah.
It won't even be, it won't be in their DNA. It won't be in their selves or in their programming. They will, because of the work we are all doing, we are paving the way for the new children to come in and be disease free.
Yeah. And the more I see of these children, when I'm talking children, I'm talking like, I'm hanging out a little bit the last day with a 2-year-old,
Mm-hmm.
and then last night my 3-month-old grandkid talked to me and told me we had a life on a planet together and other things. He wasn't limiting it to that. I just
Yeah.
want to make that clear. He said we had a life on a planet together, and here's some messages for you, and
Nice.
yeah, it was a first time experience for me. I've never had
Yeah.
that happen. And actually was a very clear. I was amazed at how it was a very different kind of communication. It was somewhat subtle,
Mm-hmm.
like beneath the
Yeah.
babyish stuff, but it was very clear. It was
Yeah.
very clear. So, and then people, I've had some, we started doing shows again a few days ago, and some of the folks that have come on have talked about the elemental connection,
Mm-hmm.
an elevation in the clarity of communication with elementals, with animals,
Right.
with
All of
children,
it.
and
The veil, like not even being a thing anymore.
yeah, yeah, right
We
on.
had a little ways to go, but we're getting there
Yeah.
fast.
So there was something else I was going to ask you about. Let's see. You're into okay. So we got that, and that. I'm trying to remember what it was. But well, okay. So let me ask you on a personal level,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Because you've been on here a few times, and I don't want to go through the whole story again. But you obviously have your uniqueness, your unique connection, your level of intel, and a big part of that is Metatron.
Yes.
Now, how let's just say over the last 2 months, maybe since December, how has your connection to Metatron and any other essences of the universe, let's just say, has it changed any? Has it become different? Is there a different type of relationship? Is the intel coming in differently?
So Metatron has always been one of my advisors and one of my guides, and I don't channel him per se, but he is like my mentor and my guide. And I do believe, like, I know he brought me wisdomware, and he speaks to me through me, and he gives me a lot of information about Atlantis. And he was the architect of Atlantis. He was the primary architect and who helped design the lands and the homes and the gardens through sacred geometry. And he now has come forward stronger since the beginning of the year and said, this is your next assignment. Like, I've had a YouTube channel for a very long time where I talk about Atlantis and Mer, but it's time to take that message on a platform that is going to go out to millions of people. And he is the one who stands behind me, and he's like my big cheerleader.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that says, you came here for this. I will be directing you, helping you through this, Ameera. Don't be afraid. Together, we're going to bring these messages out to the collective, and we are going to help the world understand their own metahuman nature in the making. So yes.
Wow. Wow. That's really cool, man.
Yeah.
Wow. And
it's a very big blessing. It's an amazing blessing.
so, and have you had any, quite a few women talked about, well, this was be around like beginning around the 1st of February. Quite a few women talked about going through a lot of physical stuff. And there seemed to be like a collective transmutation, particularly going through the female body
Hmm.
incarnate, that was, displacing and converting, I guess, displacing the old wounded masculine
Yeah,
impression made upon them, and therefore having a more perfect union within themselves because they're
right.
more aligned. Yeah. Did you have anything like that, or do you know
Well,
of
and
anyone that did?
I didn't have a lot of physical stuff happen to me, but I over 2019, I did have a lot of energetic and spiritual changes where me, like many women on this planet, where we came in with a predisposition to want to mother the wounded masculine
Mm-hmm.
and help them heal their mother wounds, their divine feminine wounds, all of that. And I definitely came in with that template and have spent most of my life in relationships that were not very healthy or honoring of me as a divine feminine. And what I found out is that I had to fully come into the honoring of myself as the
Mm.
divine feminine and as a mer, and not compromise that for any masculine who still carried that wound and didn't want to show up for himself. And
55
so
in the house on that one. The ascended masters are bringing the bass down on that one.
yeah,
That resonates a lot.
and they were like,
It's
Ameera, and my oversoul is Yamaya, the ocean goddess Yamaya. She is my oversoul.
Yamanja. Yeah.
Yes, and
Well,
she
my Portuguese friends call her Yamanja.
is that
Yamanja.
yes, Yamanja. She has many variations of her
Yeah.
name.
Yeah.
And and she was very strict with me, as if I was to climb the temple steps and truly you reunite with my beloved, who is an aspect of Poseidon, that I would need to collapse all of these programs, forgive
Yeah.
them, forgive myself,
Yeah.
take on this new mission, and be willing to be a fully sovereign, whole and complete woman for a while, so
Yeah.
he could meet me at the top of the temple steps.
Your beloved.
Yes.
Yeah. What's he look like? Yeah, I'm just messing with you.
Well, in my head, I see him.
Well,
I
you're
see
the
him.
creator. You can create him any way you
I
want.
think that he's dark skinned. I think he's very dark skinned,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a big man, 6 foot. He's kind of like Jason Momoa, but without the hair.
All of you women, we're gonna have a bunch of Jason Momoa clones running around
But
here.
he's like, it's like that energy though of that
Yeah.
very big man but kind heart,
Mm-hmm.
fully awakened and done his work. He doesn't need
That's the
mommy
key.
Ameera,
I don't care. Yeah, I don't
to
care if he
come pick
looks.
him up.
Yeah, I don't care if he looks like Archie Bunker. If he's done his work, that's the
Well, I
whole
kind of
point.
care about that. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
about Archie
Well,
Bunker.
you
I'll,
better
I'll
let
be
go of that
real.
one.
I want him to be handsome. I'll just say that. I think he's going to be real handsome.
I think we're all beautiful where it counts. I really do. I was just standing in front of the mirror, looking at myself, and
Thinking, darn, I'm a
I've got
handsome
work to
dude.
do. No, that's not what happened. No. So, yeah, I think that's important though, and it's nice to see. I can feel it. I can feel it. I can actually feel. I don't know. The way I see it is like, because I remember, and Morgan and I kind of ran parallel to the collective Go Figure. I'm sure there was
Mm-hmm.
many others, but I remember in the fall of 2015 that all you would see in these circles was, she's landed, mama's home, you
Yeah.
know, and then you saw like this, almost like this, you know, um, hardcore feminist kind of thing happening in some
Right.
pockets. Remember that?
Yep.
And they were like, fuck you, we're not waiting on you. We don't even need you. We'll be
Girl
Amazon women.
power. Yeah.
But then it started to shift. And then I think it was around, I want to say it started around 2017, but then in 2018, it really started to take hold and the masculine started coming, right?
Yeah.
And then I think that probably took all of last year, pretty much all of last
Hmm.
year. So it's almost like that they started to, be in the same space, but then the creative energy creation, birth pushed and she goes first, And so
Yeah.
I see it, I can kind of feel it now that she's really, we're talking energy, which primarily represented by the female incarnates, is really stepping into the power.
Well, and
And
the
that's a
power for
powerful,
women,
powerful thing.
the feminine power is in our grace and our mystique and our
Mhm.
compassion. And it's in our ability to be receptacles, to be chalices
Mhm.
for information, okay, and to transmute. But it's in that, it's in the grace of our hearts and our beauty and that mystique we carry. That's our power. Like our power
Yeah.
isn't trying to be like men. Like I
Yeah.
don't want to do what a man can do. I want to do what a man can't. And I want the man to do what I can't do because
Mhm.
that is the balance of the opposite. So the mothering and the nurturing that we carry, that women naturally carry,
Yeah.
is to be utilized in a way that is looked to as wisdom and not as martyr victim.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, and I look at this in my own world, which is obviously my relationship. Soulogy is a representation of universal energy, I guess, manifested universal energy.
Yeah.
And I see where I'm kind of gotten to, because I really struggled, with like, I know I got this download and I've had it for years about this Soulogy network and,
Mhm.
don't do anything the way it's been done before. And it's kind of like, been a journey. But one of the things that I'm really starting to understand is that anything that's created from the masculine and feminine, obviously it has to be an equal proposition.
Mhm.
But in order to get to that point, I've got to allow that wisdom that you're talking about. I've got to allow her, that mother goddess energy, be it etherical, be it, physical, I've got to allow that, support that,
Mhm.
and even do my best to put it out there and expand it. In other words, we can't these designs, these things that we've constructed cannot be uh com, built and constructed the same way everything else
Right.
has been already, because
Yeah.
they're all upside down. So I think that, I'm happy personally to get that information this early in the year. And and this is actually very recent that I've really started to click on it. So I think if it's happening to me, it's happening to other people. And I think a big indicator, the biggest indicator of that is the feminine stepping in
Yeah.
fully. Like this
No,
is
no
it,
more
game
playing
over,
around.
go. Yeah, this is really it. This isn't like what we heard in the past, because that, there's levels, and there's nothing wrong with it. But I really see that happening now, and I think also when that happens, I think what you're going to see too is, because they do that, you're going to see a lot of them pulling in their counterpart,
Yes.
which is only going to make a
That's the
stronger.
hope.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
That's the hope.
yeah. So I just want to say publicly, everybody, if you haven't seen the badass picture of my ass, not my ass, my backside, with the wisdom wear backpack that says "I am Soul." It came from Ameera, as well as 4 shirts, I think, between yours
Yeah,
and mine.
yeah. I'm about ready to send you out a couple more shirts too.
Ah,
Will you wear red? Will you wear a
I,
red
I
shirt?
I love red. I love
Okay.
black. I love red. I love dark blue.
Yeah,
But anyway,
I got this red shirt for you.
oh, cool. So I was like, yeah, and I just wanted to tell everybody that, wisdomware.org. I mean, I know enough about it now. It's the materials bamboo, the coloring. There you go. the coloring is has micro dyes, which is pulverized, and are crystals, and I believe sometimes other crystals that are
Yeah,
put into the.
you guys had an Andara girl on today earlier,
Yeah, we had
right?
an, yeah,
You had somebody
Julie.
talking
Yeah.
about that's what's in my clothes.
Yeah, yeah. So the Andara crystals are pulverized and put into the paint, and then sprayed onto to the material. And then you also have now expanding into backpacks.
Yeah, I've got the bags. The bag thing might be kind of going away
Okay.
as I am moving into this radio show host. But wisdomware is full on organic bamboo, and I made a discount code
Mhm,
for Soulology people,
mhm,
for all the Soulology people. If you go on my website and when you order, if you type in "I am Soul" in all capitals,
mhm.
"I am Soul 20." All capitals, "I am Soul" and the number 20, you'll get a 20% off your
Wow,
clothing purchase.
that's very cool. Thank you for that.
Yeah, of
Thank you
course.
for that. Yeah.
144,000 people in wisdomware. Got to spread that sacred geometry far and wide.
There you go. Is that the place you were living when we were there? The one that you've moved to?
No,
Yeah.
I'm in a new place. So,
You got a new place. What part of the
well, I've
island
been
are
here
you?
a year.
Oh,
I've been here for a year. I
well,
was
this.
the last time you talked to me, I was in the basement. I had a basement apartment.
All right.
And then about 7 months ago, I got a promotion to the top
Hmm.
level. I'm in the penthouse suite.
There you go. You went from the outhouse to the penthouse. That's
Something like
that's
that.
ascension right there. All right,
Yes.
Ameera Beth. It's good to see you again. I don't know when I'm going to physically see you again, but you never know. And
I might end up in Florida. Are you guys going to be there a little while?
we're going to be here till the end of March, for
Okay.
sure.
I
Yeah.
might not get there that soon, but sooner or later we will cross
Yeah.
again in the physical. I just know it. I
Yeah.
just know
And
it.
we'll hook up again, and down the road, and just keep on running with it. And thank you so much for the information and the conversation
Yeah,
and the
thank
fellowship
you.
and the smiles and the good times and the
Oceans,
clothing. Yeah.
oceans of aloha to you and Morgan. I miss you guys.
Yeah, I miss you too. Thank you so much. See you later. Peace out.
Aloha.
Thank you, everybody. Be sure and come back in 2.5 hours and learn about yoni steaming, including the men, by the way. See ya. Bye bye.